Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have found us. This is another episode of the Dreamers Live podcast. You're here with us. Welcome. And you may note that our background...
Yes, you can be excited. You can be excited.
A little early, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's great.
So you may note that if you are watching this or listening to us, that our voices sound a little different than normal, or the background's a little different than our average podcast. That is because this is a live studio recorded podcast from a Dreamers Live event.
Yes, I feel so professional now.
So now let me introduce you to the studio audience.
Good.
So if you're listening at home, that is what 1,000 people sound like when you do a podcast. And we are so thrilled you're here, each and every one of you. So, yeah, how you feeling?
I feel pretty good, actually. You know, for us putting on events, we're also, for those of you listening to the podcast, hosting a Dreamers Live event, which is really fun. And we love to do it, but it takes a lot of work and coordination to get all of you people here. And so usually by the time I get to the event, I'm like, all right, somebody hand me a beer. So it's good.
And typically when we do the podcast, it's just Tuesday afternoon at the office. So we're not typically drinking beer as far as they know.
Yes.
So that part works out pretty well. So this happens to be our third anniversary. So 3 years ago, this October, we started doing Dreamers Live events. We were doing Dreamers as an online community. We were coming out of the hell that was COVID.
Yes.
And we decided we wanted to do an online group to share art and music and connect with people and do all that kind of stuff. And about a year into that, we said, you know what, we should get together in person and do something. So we did our first live event in our loft just behind this alley. How many people were here 3 years ago when we did our Dreamers Live event at the loft?
Yes,
I know Nancy was there.
Yeah, Nancy,
I know Jan
my mom.
was there. Jana was there. Mike was there. I'm sure
we didn't
Johnny
even know Carl yet. Amazing. And Carl's our best.
Didn't know Carl. We didn't know Stacy. We didn't know any of you guys. So many of you guys came out, and so we're really thrilled. So tonight we're going to do something we've never done at a Dreamers Live event. We're going to start with a poem. And I'm going to bring up our almost 13-year-old who's going to read a poem by one Shel Silverstein, as we like to say. All right.
Just to make our family sound amazing, we were cussing each other out earlier, just like you guys were, but we do read poetry some mornings. if we all survive before on the way out to middle school. We try to have a quick breakfast, and then we'll read a little poetry. So Shel Silverstein is one of Evangeline's favorites, and we came across this and read it this morning.
If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in.
Evangeline Webster. We thought that was apropos is the word. Yeah, we thought that was sweet. So thanks for dreaming with us. People ask us a lot about what Dreamers is, and we don't really know how to define it, except for when we began the group, we were looking for community, we were looking for friends, we were looking for meaningful relationships, and so we kind of did it for ourselves, honestly.
And now I found you.
Yes, and I look around and I see all these people that we didn't know 3 years ago. That's really cool, and we're grateful to you guys for dreaming with us and looking for more interesting ways to do a few things.
So this conversation we're going to have this evening is the very first conversation we had at a Dreamers Live event. If you were there, bear with us. It's become kind of a staple for what Dreamers is about. And so if you've heard some of this, bear with us. Act like you're hearing it for the first time.
Yes.
Because the at-home audience hasn't heard it and they want to hear you laugh. But also because it matters. It's still important to us. And so if we were going to be limited to one conversation we could have for Dreamers, it would probably be this conversation.
Yes.
And so it started a little bit like this. Anjanette had asked me just a couple weeks before we did our Dreamers Live event, the very first one, she says, do you remember when you started writing or how you started writing? Which, for those who don't know, that's part of what we do. So we do film and video work, and Anjanette's a singer-songwriter, and then I write and do that kind of stuff. And so I hadn't thought about my first time. until she asked me about it, and then it's like this whole scene came rushing back because I was, especially in elementary school, a horrible student.
Aw.
I was. You wouldn't know it to look at me now, but
You're
I was.
so cute, though.
Thank you. I was too tall. I was too thin. My feet were too long.
Yeah.
I had dyslexia, and I did not know it.
That was before dyslexia was invented.
Before it was cool.
Yeah.
And
So like this poor boy can't read.
I needed reading glasses, but that did not stop my third grade teacher from insisting that we do book reports every week.
Oh, third grade.
Yeah,
Gosh.
oral book reports. And so I would read like 2 pages and just sack out. I just fall right to sleep. And so, yes, thank you, Homer. It is a thumbs down.
Yes.
Oral book reports.
Book reports.
So what was the one thing that I did have working for me was I had a pretty active imagination as an only child at that time, except for my brothers. And so I would just make shit up. We would walk up and that would be my turn and I would bring on the charm and I would say, here's the book that I read this week. And I would just go. And I was so good at it that the other third graders thought, I've read that book too. I know. And it's the only thing that got me from being kicked out of class because, I mean, how is the teacher going to turn down 28 of us? So
Yeah, that's right.
So fast forward, and I got to Madison Middle School. How many people had to endure Madison?
Oh, Madison. Oh,
Okay.
I'm still getting
So
over
you
it.
did not have anything to do with that building, right?
Right.
Good. Okay, thank God. Let me just say that Evangeline and I are both, we both truly love mid-century modern, but there's good mid-century modern and there's really bad. And
True.
Madison Middle School fell into it. It was a dank, dark,
Yes.
oppressive building with little windows like prison windows that made you know there was an outside,
But
you
you-
just couldn't see it. So it was
You couldn't
awful.
even crack them. It was terrible.
You and I were there at the same time.
Yeah, but you were too cool for me.
Oh,
I had to win
please.
you over later.
So somehow I found my way into an English lit class, and I was in 7th or 8th grade, about like Evangeline is now, and they gave us an assignment. It was a book report. Dum, dum, dum.
Oh, and you were like, I used to do these in third grade. all the
I've got
time.
it. And they said, but it must be written. I was like, oh, shit.
shoot.
And so I don't know how I came across the book. I don't know if they gave us options or what, but the book that I read was Animal Farm. Any Animal Farm readers in the house?
Okay, everyone has read Animal
Yeah,
Farm,
it
right?
was a spooky, creepy, wonderful book.
I love that book.
I dug it. I read it cover to cover and then some. I loved that book. And so much so that when it came time to do the written book report, I just got on it. I drew a cover for it. I did all the pages chapter by chapter, talked about themes and nuance and all the things that people are supposed to talk about.
You knew nuance in 7th grade?
Please, did I know
Oh,
nuance?
come on.
She and I dated for like 2 months.
Pretty sure I taught you
Oh,
some nuance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I was going to go with a line, and I thought, no, I don't have to edit this out. So, no, I just gave it everything I had. And then it's like over the weekend, and then you come back on Monday and you sit in your little even rows, and then somebody with polyester pants comes rubbing by you, and you think you could put a fire on them somehow. You just
Listen, the teachers we know are cool, but there was a lot of polyester
These are
pants
not the
happening
teachers
in the
we grew
80s.
up with. Yes,
yeah, that's right.
And she came by and she would put each person's assignment down, face down, on your desk, and then it was up to you to turn it over and see where the grenade should land. And so I did not hesitate. I flipped that bad boy over, and for the first time in my life, in teacher red ink, it says A minus, which I didn't look at the minus. I just took the A. I don't know why you got to put a minus on there. So it's an A, and I was like, what? And so I just started thumbing through it, and there was, no surprise, some grammatical things that had been circled and all that kind of stuff. But then at the very end of it was this little inscription, and this matters for your generation. So if you are our generation, you know a little thing they call Cliff Notes.
Oh, yes.
Remember Cliff Notes? Little pamphlet of a book. So you might be assigned to read War and Peace.
Right.
700 pages long.
Oh, my God.
But you could get Cliff Notes, 25 pages long.
Yes.
And it would tell you everything you need to fake your way through a test or a book report.
And now they just call that Google.
Yeah. So that's it. Somebody else has already done. You just print that test out and it's done.
The Google Notes.
So on the very last page of my book report, it said in teacher red ink, either you write very well or you use Cliff Notes very well. And I just blew up. It was the first time someone had seen something in me that was positive, and they said it to me, and it absolutely changed the way I saw myself from that moment on.
Because she thought you had cheated?
Well, because she thought what I did was good enough that it could have been cheating.
Okay.
And it was the moment where I discovered that I could actually be good at writing.
Yeah.
I might be good at something. And so each of us, if you go back right now, if I give you a moment, there's probably a parent or an aunt or uncle or a teacher or a friend or somebody in your childhood that said to you, you know what, you're really fast. You're really great. You have great eye-hand coordination. You're really smart. You're really great at math. You're so loyal as a friend. You're so trustworthy. You're this, that, and the other. So think about it for just a second.
All right, close
Go to
your
that
eyes,
spot.
everybody. Let's do a little exercise
Go
here.
to that spot, a little
Close
fairy
your
dust will come out.
eyes.
We'll put that sound effect in. Sort of later. Think about a moment
Yes.
from your childhood in which someone said to you, you know what, you're really great at that. And what's amazing is that doesn't stop when you stop being a child. You could be 80 years old and someone say, you know what, every time I come to your house, you bring recipes to our house, you bring recipes out for us that are amazing. How do you even think about stuff like this? How do you even make a table look like this? How do you make cocktails like this? It's like I say to Evangeline, when you pour my scotch, the way you make it come, just that is... She will always have that. She will always have that.
It reminds
skill.
me of the book Nancy Dennis gave me. What was it called? The kids... The two martini play date.
Yes.
And it's a tongue-in-cheek book. It said that you should teach your kids how to be really good bartenders. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
We digress.
those words, that little thing, it's not that teacher or that those people that spoke in your life were necessarily thinking about that in that moment. But what is true is that in each of those moments, saying that shapes the way we see ourselves from that moment on. If you're involved in any way in education or you have kids, you know that's true. The moment you compliment somebody, the moment you compliment a kid, this thing washes over in their face. And oh my God, that's amazing. I am this. And sometimes it has bleed over. Sometimes if you're good at one thing, that confidence goes over. When you go out to recess, maybe you don't hang out by yourself. That's when I was coming up in elementary school, I had a friend, not friends. I had a friend. If friend was not there that day, it was very lonely. If I was not there, I did not care because I was doing other things. But friend was very important to me. So the moment you do that, the ripple effect of that is amazing. And Anjanette had this similar experience as a child, but it kind of went in this reverse direction.
Yeah, we also have a different power of our words, right? My mom was always, she's right here, Joni. Let's hear it for Joni Elmore, everybody. Yes.
She cared to be here and her husband did not.
Dad is out of town. But my mom was always great to get us all the music lessons that we needed. Anything we were interested in, she found a way to make it happen. So we moved to a new city. It was Santa Fe, New Mexico, very artsy, kind of uppity community in some ways in the arts community. So she found us a piano teacher. Her name was Mrs. Corelli.
Anybody else have Mrs. Corelli?
Mrs. Corelli,
Okay.
Jared did. Ashley was a fetus. We always joke about that. She's our little sister. But anyway, we went. Miss Corelli was super weird. She had a lot of polyester skirts, the really long toenails that kind of go over the top of the sandal. You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay. And so anyway, it was there. That's right. She had a piano in her home and like 27 cats. And then she had a secret copy machine room in the back. And that's where she would secretly copyright the sheet music.
Whoa.
And she would swear you to secrecy. Do not tell anyone that I am giving you this copy of Chopin's Third or whatever it was.
Right.
Or I could get arrested. So she thought the FBI was onto her.
That's
So-
just where the FBI was spending its time, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, they might be onto your toenails, ma'am. Anyway.
Forget Nixon. Where's this Chopin? Yeah.
Right. But anyway, we're there, and I played my classical piece that we were learning, but I had also found some sheet music and came up with just a little melody. It was like a song. First time I tried to write, I was 8 years old. And I took it to her. I said, Mrs. Corelli, after we play Chopin's Third or whatever we're working on, I said, could I play you something that I came up with on my own? She was like, oh, I guess. And so I played it for her.
She sounds evil.
I know. I played it for her and I looked at her. I was only 8. And she said, that sounds like something else I've heard before, and moved on. And that was it. So she crushed my soul in a tiny way. okay. And I didn't try again to write a song until I was 13. So it's interesting. And that's part of what I do for a living. So we have the ability to encourage and bring life to people, or we have the ability literally to crush their souls sometimes.
Yeah.
So we've all been guilty of it. And oftentimes we do it accidentally. Miss Corelli did it on purpose, I'm sure.
But, and that's not to put any weight on people, there's plenty of us who make the mistake. She's
Yes.
dead, yeah.
My mom said she's dead.
She with Jesus now, so it don't
It's all
matter.
fine. Everybody good. I forgive her.
We assume. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, and I don't want to put weight on a bunch of us. You know, we all use words in different ways and stuff. But I do find that interesting that though every word we have has value. It does something. It has an impact in it, and not just the words that we use that are positive and negative, but the words that we withhold. Right?
Yeah.
I am, and I've confessed this before. I am a recovering undercommunicator.
Yes.
I come from undercommunicators. My grandparents never told my mom, in all the time that she was alive, that she loved them, that they loved her.
Yeah,
And my mom told me about this. And even as a kid, I thought, I'll test it out. So we were on the phone. We were long distance. It's back when you had to shout over a phone line and somebody's paying for it.
So, guys, we had these phones and they had cords.
To a wall.
Yeah,
And you
they
could
didn't-
only walk as far as the
you
line
couldn't
will let
play
you go.
games. Yeah, my mom had an extra long cord and she could balance the phone on her shoulder. Be like, yes.
You could literally jump rope, double dutch kids while you were on the phone.
It was impressive. And she'd be like, I am praying with somebody. I'm like, sure, Mom, okay. She's rocking around that thing. She
So-
probably was.
Yeah, I'm on the phone with my grandparents. My mom has told me this thing about and I love my grandparents. They're grandparents. So at the end of the phone call, I said, okay, well, I love you. And they said, okay. What? Okay, well, I really love you. All right, honey.
That's nice.
So, as a recovering undercommunicator, I've become starkly aware of not just the good words that I use or the bad words that I use or the harmful words, but the words that I withhold and the value of that. So,
Right.
Anjanette was in a fight this week. I happened to
What
be there.
are you talking about?
Yeah, she was in a fight this week and I happened to be there, so I guess the fight was with me. I don't know.
Okay. You mean
And,
at home with a
yes.
certain 7th grader?
And so in this fight that we were having, she said this, and this, and you are disapproving of the way I handled that. And
I said that to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was flabbergasted. What do you mean you're disappointed? I'm not disappointed in you. And she said, well, this, and this, and then you're facing the thing. And then I realized, in a lot of ways, the words that I was withholding was communicating there's an information gap. And so somebody has to fill in that information gap in that moment.
Right.
So within the information gap was, well, your face is saying this and you're not saying anything else. So all I had to go by is
Your face.
your face, and you are upset or you are judging this thing or you're disapproving of this thing, because I had never sought to encourage or reinforce or say to her, hey, I think you're reading this right, or hey, I think because I was just tired. So I didn't reinforce this. The same thing happens with our kid. If Evangeline comes up and she says, this is what we're doing, or this, and this, and I don't make an outward expression of how proud I am of her, or what I think of her, or what she does, that's most of the damage we carry as kids growing up into adults. It's not so much just the mean things that an adult says, it's the things they never said. It's the things they never communicated. I did not know if you liked me. I did not know if you thought I was good enough. I did not know if you thought I could do this. You go out and you do a college plan and you do a job plan and you find yourself in what you think is a pretty happy place in life, and yet you don't know if anybody else cares or thinks about it.
Yeah.
So it's the words that we withhold that can sometimes be as damaging as the ones we say.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And we're all totally guilty of this all the time, but something that we have tried to become better at is seeing something and actually saying it out of our mouth. Because a lot of times people, we all do this. We think to ourselves, oh, I love my mom. She's so fun, and I just admire the way she's stuck with it, and just all the fun things she's done in her life, and the way she keeps persevering. And I think that about my mom, but I'm not sure that I've said it to her exactly that way. Yeah, and she said no. But see, I think that it's apparent, right? But unless I actually tell her that I think she's awesome, she's not going to know. And why do you think what are some of the reasons that we avoid saying things?
Well, we avoid them, I think, for probably two primary, and you guys have your own reasons for this. And one, either we're myopic, we're too internally focused, we're too focused on the moment, we're not looking out past ourselves to see
Right.
the beauty in somebody else. Or two, it might get awkward. If I say to someone, hey, I was just noticing you're amazing at X, Y, or Z, and then they act like, well, why are you looking at me that way?
Might have to make it weird, Jay.
I've just been noticing you, and this was Renee. When we first did this conversation, we had this whole thing.
Everyone look at Renee and make her
Look
feel
at Renee
awkward.
right now. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the first time we had this conversation at a Dreamers event, and then Renee said, yes, like you could just go up to somebody in the store and you could just tell them what it is you like about them. And I'm like, yeah, hey, I've been watching you for the last 20 minutes as you've gone up and down the aisles, and I gotta say, I like your taste in produce.
Yes.
The way you squeeze those melons.
No.
Okay, no.
Oh my God. It works better if you know the people.
It
I'm
does.
just gonna tell you.
Actually, no. I think you can tell it to anybody, but there's a risk factor.
Yeah.
If you say something like that, there's a risk factor that it might fall flat. There's a risk factor that somebody might not receive it the same way. It might seem creepy.
Right.
And
You're
I
putting
will just-
yourself out there.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you in advance, it's going to be awkward. It is going to be awkward. But I will also tell you that when you tell somebody something they're good at, even if they don't respond in the right way in the moment, it will register with them. And they will think about that later.
Yeah.
We do that. We'll go to a coffee shop
Yeah.
and see a barista, and I'm usually with my wife when I do this. But I'll say something like, oh man, you're really great at X, Y, or Z, and this is this and this. And they're not used to the plane being broken.
Yeah.
They're used to, I'm the server, you're the person who buys the things, we have a wall between us, just put your order in, please, sir.
Yeah.
And so when you break that barrier by making them human again, it throws everything into a catalogue because they don't necessarily know how to respond in that moment,
Yeah.
but they reflect on it later.
Yeah, absolutely. I do a little bit of substitute teaching at middle school, and so I was in a class the other day, and man, it's tough out there. Shout out to the middle school teachers and teachers. Woo!
Yeah.
Anyway, love y'all. They're pretty awesome. I just pop in here and there, and, but there was a kiddo that I know has had some challenges, and we found an ability. She has recently taken up a musical instrument, and so in front of the whole class, we were talking about different things, and I said, what's something new to you? And I knew this, and she said, well, I just started playing the cello. And I was like, that is awesome. I would love the cello, and the cello is beautiful because it's this and that, and everyone just kind of looked. I said, what do you like about it? She goes, well, this and that. I said, that's such a great choice. You're going to really love playing that. It was just not a big deal to say. Her self-esteem, it makes me cry, went up about 900 notches. Just the fact that I had acknowledged that something that she did was a decent choice. I mean, that was all it took. And we have that ability to do. I mean, on a bad day, we're all self-focused. We're human. Our minds are always talking about ourselves to us. But when we can have those better days where we pull out and pull up and are aware of other people.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to. Do you ever do that before you go into a place?
Oh, absolutely.
I will try to get my game face on in a good way.
I joke about being a recovering under-communicator. I'm serious. So, yeah, sometimes if I'm
You're
going
an introvert, really.
if I go into a place like a party or something like that, I'll have to remind myself I need to be aware of other people. I will be insecure enough that I'll just be thinking about how I'm coming over or what I'm wearing or what's happening here, this, that, or the other, and I will be oblivious. And that's a good way to come over as an asshole, first of all. So I have to stop for a minute before I go into a place, and I have to think, oh, this is going to be about other people. I need to be aware of other people. I want to look for the good in other people when I get in there. And it's not a trick. It's not a parlor trick or something you're doing. People can smell insincerity. But it's a practice.
Yeah.
One thing is a trick, one thing is a thing, and one thing is a gimmick. There's another thing that is a practice. We have spiritual practices that we do that help us to be more aware of those things. And so that's what this is. And what's incredible about it is in the same way that you were impacted by someone saying, hey, you're really great at X, Y, or Z, you have that same power to light that up in somebody else. So in that moment, what's fantastic is that no one ever responds negatively like that. So if you say, hey, you are amazing at rocket science, that person has never responded in the history of man, great, I'll quit rocket science now. No, you just go on and do more rocket sciencey stuff because someone said you're good at it. So the moment you light that in somebody, the more they do that, you literally grow the good in that person, and they will go on to do more good because of that. So there is a thing about getting in the habit of looking for good in other people, looking for good and then telling them about it. Know that it will be awkward and it will be weird sometimes, but the lasting impact of it is so very well worth it. Okay, I need Evangeline and Molly.
Are you going to see it? So we have so my father-in-law who's missing tonight.
Your father, my father-in-law.
That's right. My father, Jay's father-in-law, has really inspired us thinking about this. And he has a saying that he just calls "see it and say it." So, like if I see somebody and they're rocking a purple T-shirt, I will, on a good day, say, "I like your purple T-shirt." And then a lot of times we'll start talking, or if we don't, they feel a little bit better. But you see it and you have to say it. If you only see it, right, it doesn't matter. So we're working on trying to be better about saying it. Also, there's the principle of seeing something negative and not saying it.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So we need to see and not say the bad.
Okay,
but
so we're big on a couple of things. There's things that'll happen to you in a moment. Like you'll be here and there's a little moment and you're thinking, oh yeah, this, that, and the other. And then by the time you get home, you forgot about it. So we try to do things. That's why we hand out the little pieces of paper about if you've met somebody tonight, swap some information, because you'll forget about it later and you'll miss that relationship. The cards that are handing out right now, these are see it and say it cards, okay? So there are 5 little things on there. It's got a place for a name. It's got a place for what. And it actually says that when you see the good in someone and you tell them, you literally grow the good. Okay, you increase the good in your life and in their life. And we should commit to creating this habit in ourselves of looking for that good and telling people about it. It's not enough just to see the good. You've got to tell them about it. So if I give you a second right now, I'll give you just a minute or two. You're probably thinking about someone. It could be a childhood friend. It could be a parent. It could be an aunt or an uncle. It could be somebody you're in a relationship now with. It could be your spouse.
Is this somebody that you want to
This
say
is someone
to?
that you, if you think about it, you think, I really need to let them know how much I appreciate them doing X, Y, or Z. How much I love that they do this. How much that last time we were together, we talked about being a safe place. Maybe there was somebody when you were coming up that was a safe place for you, and you need to let them know, hey, we had conversations when I was coming up as a kid, and you were a mentor to me or you were a friend to me, and I want you to know what that meant to me. You were a safe place to me. You were a mentor to me. You made me laugh. And so take just a minute, think about who those people might be, and this is just something you're going to keep. You're not turning this back into us, but this is to help you take action on it.
And what about for the listening audience at home? Tell them what they
You should get a piece of paper, pause this podcast.
Pause podcast.
Get a piece of paper, write 1 through 5 on it, and write down 5 people that you can think of right now that need to know something that they're good at.
Okay.
And then commit to doing that.
Does anybody else need a paper in our live studio audience?
Anybody else?
Okay. Molly and Evangeline, good job, guys.
Who needs to know something they're good at? Who needs that's in your life needs to know?
Are we going to take a moment of silence?
We're doing it right now.
All right.
Do some music. We would do the music, but we're using all the iPods right now, all the iPads.
All right.
So you'll just have to write silence.
Yes.
This is not a good time to look over your neighbor and see if your spouse is writing your name on the list. Try not to do that.
Why did you put me on your list?
I'm not worth of knowing something good about myself. Maybe a parent, maybe a kid. Maybe you never really got to tell your kid how great they were to raise.
Yeah.
How's your list coming? Does anybody need help?
Could anybody not come up with 5? Oh, you can have more than 5. That's awesome.
So when you reach out to your people, if you want to throw us under the bus, you can. You can say, hey, I was at this thing, and they were talking about see it and say it, and the people that we need to let know, that's fine. Or you can just say, hey, I was thinking the other day. We have some cards over here. If you really want an easy way out, we have some postcards over here. They just say, what I like about you. It's a postcard, and on the back is just a little space, and you could literally write to someone, hey, I was just thinking about you the other day. Here's something I really like about you. You know how this is, you know what a great use of this is? Is anybody in a relationship that's kind of the frenemy relationship?
Okay, everybody has a frenemy.
Yeah, or the person you're kind of competitive with or something like this. This is a great disarming technique.
Yeah.
Tell them something they're good at.
Yeah.
Tell them opportunities are not limited. So by telling them that they're good at something doesn't mean you're not going to get the opportunity or not have that stuff happen to you. It's a great way to disarm it.
Who are my musicians in the room? Scott, Martha, Rhonda. Okay, lots of you guys. Jared, and of course, all my family. That goes without saying.
No, please.
No, I'm kidding. But
So
anyway,
talented.
musicians have a great habit of never telling each other anything positive about them, their others. They don't. It's like somehow I realized this early on when I started playing. Somehow, if you complimented another musician or said I like your music or whatever, like there was only so much room for creativity. It's not true. So one of the things I've had to start doing is I will immediately when there's another musician in the room or someone I'm listening to, I will go to them. It's like a game, and I'll be like, "Man, love the way you drum and the way you kept at it. You guys are both percussionists."
Every party we go to, Jeanette plays by prison rules. So we walk into a party and there's always somebody there with their shit together. When you go to a party and they're a beautiful married couple and they make a lot of money and they're funny and charming and they're intimidating and you want to hurt them. And I think that's probably the Irish in me. The Irish in me wants them to be hurt. Like this is too much. You need to be deflated. And Jeanette plays by prison rules. She walks straight up and introduces herself and says, "Oh my gosh, you guys are beautiful.
You're
We love
beautiful
you."
and so rich and wonderful. How's it going? No, I don't. But the point is,
And I put pins in them. In the background.
but if you go right to that person and you say something encouraging or positive, those walls that are there are gone. And that's all it takes.
Look at Homer right now. Like his hair is perfect,
I
and
know.
he's
so
golf.
good at golf.
I mean, if you looked at Homer in your party and you'd be like, "I'm not going to talk to that guy.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm talking to that guy."
But you'd miss out on the
But you'd
Homer.
miss out on the Homer.
Yeah, that's right.
We know who he is.
All right,
Yeah.
you guys have your list. How you doing? Good.
Okay.
They're like, we'd be fine, but you keep talking.
All right, so this card stays with you. Put it someplace you can see it. So Anjanette mentioned my father-in-law, Jason Elmore, who is the king of See It and Say It. And I learned this principle from him and from his daughter. He used to do this thing for years. If he was thinking about something, if he'd come across some truth, he would write a yellow sticky note or a index card, and he would write that thing on an index card, and he took it literally with him everywhere he went. He'd get in the car, he'd sit on the seat beside him. He'd go to the office, he'd sit on the desk in front of him. Anything to keep it in front of him so it became part of who he was. Because it wasn't nothing just to talk about that truth on Sundays or Wednesdays. He wanted to incorporate it into his life.
Yeah.
Take this card with you. Keep it in front of you. Put it where you will see it. Put it on your refrigerator, in your car seat, someplace till you get into the habit of looking for the good in somebody and then telling them about it.
Yes.
And then watch what happens. It will be transformative and it will have this huge ripple effect that will affect other people in the process.